All right, got it, it says so. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is our first day together at the State House. And this is Senate Transportation Committee, Thursday morning. And like I said, it feels good that we're all here together at the State House for the first time. And it seems like it's been a long time since we've done this. Anyway, we're going to start off.
It has been. It was March 13th of 2020. We left this.
I didn't realize. I thought last year we were here a few days, but we weren't.
I don't know.
Not at all.
So that would be, and we came back this year,
Yeah.
March 8th. So it's just about 2 years.
So we have two members that for the first time here.
We have been here just.
Senator Ingalls and Senator Chipman, the first time live with us. And
Well, no, you were here for a couple of months. You hardly got the chair warm before we had to leave.
No, they got elected after that.
They did? Oh.
I've been here to this is the fourth time in the State House in like 25 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I'm the new guy.
Yeah, you can't take that. Don't try to.
just for the record, the new guy.
Yeah.
You could be the rookie.
Oh,
You could be the-
yeah, there we go. I
New
like
guy
that.
from South Burlington, Senator Chipman, who was on the page of 7 days this week. So anybody wants his autograph, he said, be glad to come sign it before we leave today.
Yeah, you might have to make room up on your bulletin
Well,
board
that's right. Now I got-
or you put another one
I
up.
gotta put-
I was surprised we could get him through the door.
Okay, it's Thursday, it's 9 o'clock, and we're gonna start off the agency of transportation maintenance update. And it'll be interesting to find out where we stand. Certainly, we've had some bad weather, but maybe not as bad as other years, who knows? But Wayne Gamble is here with us this morning, and Todd Law. Wayne, Todd, good morning.
Good morning. I hope everybody's well.
Everybody's fine so far, so go right ahead. Who would like to take off?
I'm going to let Todd take off with it. Todd has a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to let him take off of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if I can share my screen, please, Jeannie.
Everybody loves PowerPoint. Except they take 10 pages of paper to do what you could do with one.
Okay, hopefully that came up.
Yes, it did. Yep.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Todd Law. I'm the Deputy Director of District Maintenance and Fleet for the Vermont Agency of Transportation. We're going to do a winter maintenance update like we do pretty much every year. Of course, if anybody has any questions, please feel free, interrupt. I can't see a whole lot, so if somebody can tell me if there's any questions out there, please let me know.
Okay, we'll do it.
So the first thing I want to show is called our winter maintenance dashboard. And what we're looking at right now is where we sit as of, this would be 2 days ago on the 8th in the morning. So before this last storm we just had last night. So what we're showing in the graph itself is actually the overall winter maintenance costs. And of course, we're up through or into March now. But we carry this through February. So if we're looking at our overall costs, last year was a fairly good winter to us. So we actually carried forward some money this year that we put into some paving, some other projects. As of the end of February, we were running just about like we were last year. And of course, as we know, there's a lot of winter left that could change that, including some more coming this weekend and et cetera, et cetera. So up until February, we were running between this line that says 17 million on the right is last year's. And again, that's the overall through the end of the fiscal year. And this upper line, kind of the middle color, the lighter blue, is our 5-year average, just to put this into perspective. We did have a couple of fairly significant, almost record years that's in that 5-year average, which does inflate it a little bit. But we're expecting right now to come in between last year and our 5-year average. Of course, again, barring what happens with winter. So this column over here is our total lane miles that we performed winter maintenance on, the hours that our employees have worked, the overtime hours. And then we'll get into more of the salt details, but this is the salt we've used to date of 108,000 tons. We budgeted for about 140,000 tons, which is about our 5-year average. So we're still relatively good as far as that goes. And then our liquid salt, which is also referred to as brine. It's the drinking water and our road salt that's mixed together at 23.3% concentration, and we spray that on the granular salt to keep it on the road and activate it. It eliminates a lot of the pack that we used to get, that hard pack, packed in snow that is a little more difficult to travel on, and enables us to bear off the roads a little faster. And then, of course, when we have a lot of the freezing rain that we've had early this year, sleet, freezing rain, we do use sand, not as much as we used to. And that's an effort with the Agency of Natural Resources. We have a memorandum of understanding that we will use it when it makes sense for traction. It has limited melting capabilities, but it also provides phosphorus into the waterways, which I'm sure you've heard. So on the salt, as you can see, we are running just about in the middle of where we were last year. Again, that lower line in here is last year to where we are currently in this fiscal year, in FY 2022. And then the upper line again is our 5-year average, which is weighted with those couple of years of nearly 200,000 tons because of a lot of freezing rain events and a fairly more difficult winter. Again, this column over here didn't change at all, which is a good thing. It shows that it's accurate, because this is the same dashboard but with different emphasis in the graph in the middle. The only other thing I wanted to show, actually I do have one more that I didn't put in my PowerPoint presentation, is our salt pricing for this year. In FY21, so last season, we actually got some fairly favorable salt prices, at least for V-Trans. Here it shows our estimate to the vendors is 151,000 tons. But working in concert with the state of New Hampshire, we were able to obtain some very favorable pricing that reduced our salt pricing from some almost $80 a ton down to what you can see here, the $50 to $56. We did have some increases this last year in a few areas. Some of them carried through. And overall, based on our estimate, which is this 151,000 tons, FY21 with the 5325 as the average gave us a little over $8 million, which is what we estimated expending. That has gone up this year with the price increases. Our average is $62.4 per ton, which is an increase of $1.35 million. So
Todd, can I ask a question? I find it interesting, the price differential depending on your district. You've got District 8, for example, at 54, and you've got, I don't know, District 4 is 70, almost 74. So why is such variation? And which areas cost the most?
So we did have one vendor that extended their pricing through for this year, and those are the ones you see here, like District 2, District 5, and I believe there was one more, District 9. So one vendor did carry their prices from one year to the next, and I don't know if there was an issue across the nation. Sometimes if the mines work extremely hard one year, they do see price increases because they have to fix their equipment, et cetera. So again, one vendor was able to provide us the same pricing as last year. And then a couple others, one had a minor increase, and that was in the northern part of the state. So you can see minor increases for District 8. And was that the only one? Yeah, maybe it was just District 8. But then we had one vendor who was not able to carry their pricing forward. We rebid those districts. And because of the capacity issue with these other vendors, they couldn't provide us with lower pricing either. So the ones that went up significantly were rebid this last year.
Like District 7 went from 51 to 76.
Yes, that was one of them. District 7.
What's District 7?
District 7 is the Northeast Kingdom. So it's St. Johnsbury is the district office. So it's Lindenville down to Bradford. So that area of 91.
Expensive. What is there a lot of competitors in this business, or is it limited now? As I understand it, it's getting fewer and fewer people that are going to be bidding, I suspect.
Yeah, we have 3 vendors that are carried in this one. We did have 2 others who had bid previously. 2 of them did not rebid. Actually, I'm sorry, we had 3 others. Appalachia, who we've used in the past, Morton Salt, which we've used a few years in the past, and then one that we've never used before but bids a lot in New Hampshire because they come from Portsmouth in the seacoast, and that's Granite State. But yeah, we typically have 3 to 4 vendors that are our primaries. Appalachia, who's down in the Port of Coymans or Albany, New York. And then we have American Rock, who's out in New York, but they have vendors here that provide us, trucking companies that provide us the salt. And then we have Cargill is another very large one. They come from Ohio, New York. They have mines in both areas. And their main trucking company is up around Mount Burlington, Shelburne. And then we have one other.
Barrett just buy out Phil's old company? Didn't Barrett just buy that company here in Middlesex?
I've heard there was something going on, but I haven't confirmed anything.
Yeah, they bought that out, so that's going to make I don't know what that's going to do for competition, but that's a big salt depot there.
Yeah, agreed. And Barrett's hauls Cargill.
Right.
Du Bois and Newton Trucking hauled
That's right.
American Rock.
Yeah.
And what about Sifto? We used to purchase from, is that Canadian?
It is. So Sifto was combined with a couple other salt companies up in Canada. They're now called Compass Minerals, and we do have Compass Minerals for a couple of our districts. District 8's one of them, and I can't remember what the other one was. If it was 8, because I think 9 was, maybe they only have 8 this time. But yeah, they normally do the northern districts because they have a few of them up just north of the New York border, and then some that are over towards the New Hampshire Vermont border. So yeah, we've used them in the past, and they've been our supplier for a couple of years back up in District 9.
The price of diesel, boy, this is going to be a big change. This going forward, we're going to see some dramatic changes. I'll tell you, we heard from the bus companies the other day, was it 10,000 a month or something like that, more for diesel fuel, and it's climbing every day. So I can imagine what that chart's going to look like if we have a lot more winter left.
And that's a great point. One thing that we did in FY21 when we bid with New Hampshire never allowed a fuel decrease, so a fuel adjustment, so to speak. So we went with the same thing and even got these favorable pricing. But again, yeah, the companies aren't going to lose because we do have so few that can bid for us. So I'm sure this price increase for fuel is definitely going to hit us in the future. So yeah, we were lucky. Again, we don't adjust these. We used to adjust them very frequently. I think it was monthly. We would have adjustments, and we would have to send out, adjust our bills based on that. It made it more difficult for us to receive the invoices and pay the invoices because we had to verify those adjustments and when the adjustment was made. That made it more clean, but again, if there's going to be the volatility in the fuel market, we may want to consider putting that adjustment back in just to keep it fair to the vendors. I mean, obviously we didn't expect this, but we definitely, it's definitely mutually beneficial. We utilize their products.
Are salt sheds all filled for the winter now, or we have to continue to buy salt?
We continue to buy salt all winter long to keep our sheds filled. So we fill them usually the end of the previous year. So we fill them up in the previous fiscal year. So we go into the next winter full, and then we fill them periodically as we start to draw down on the salt that's in those sheds, so we can keep them filled, and again fill them at the end of the fiscal year. And again, we're going to want to do that this year with the pricing that we have, especially with the fuel prices.
Well, kudos to you guys to keep it down to a $62 average. It could be 76. So that would drastically change that chart.
Yeah, and of course that's working with our partners at BGS, Office of Purchasing and Contracting. I mean, they're the ones who led our contracts, and they work with their counterparts in New Hampshire and New York to make sure that we're getting the best value we can out of all of our commodities. So we do work very, very closely with them. I'm very engaged with our salt bidding, but I work with OPC all the time. So they are the experts on bidding this. We know what we want. They know the bidding end, and we were successful because we went in with New Hampshire in FY21 using what's called a reverse auction. So we received bids from all the vendors, and then they did almost like an eBay bid to they could see if they were the low bidder or not, but didn't know what the low bid was. So that definitely had a major impact on the pricing that we got in FY21, and again it carried over to FY22 because 4 years ago we were up around 80 something dollars a ton was our average. So yeah, it was definitely helpful to us. We could do more with our money with not spending it on salt.
Any other questions about how was your winter for help? I mean, with the maintenance, and I see you had overtime naturally, but I knew you were down 25, 30 drivers, weren't you, at one time?
Yeah, we were. I'll let Wayne speak on that one.
Okay.
You
That's
still
okay.
have your CDL, Todd?
I still have my CDL.
Oh, good, because,
We need it.
yeah, you never know when you might be called. Or maybe you were.
We get a pay raise.
We might have to bring the committee into CDL compliancy, so just let us know when the class is.
We will get
Sounds
any
good.
and
We
all
do
of them
that.
signed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do that with our training center. So we have an in-house training center that we can provide you with your commercial driver's license. So
Oh, wow.
All right. Thanks, Todd. What are you gonna line up next?
You try to go up or down? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know. I never knew you could lock the back.
usually you can, but I think I ran into that issue the last.
Morning, Wayne, you okay?
Yeah, I was just gonna let you know that we did start out the year with, I think it was 72 vacancies in maintenance and fleet in the beginning of the winter. So we started out in a tough place. We are currently running about, I think it's 35 or 36 vacancies between maintenance and fleet right now. But we have a lot of volunteers around the agency that we're grabbing. Our maintenance, our mechanics on the equipment, they're even volunteering to work nights and weekends for us. So they're pulling double duty of working on the equipment during the day and then plowing during the night and weekends. So we're doing it. We're managing it. We have a pretty good storm coming up on Saturday. So we've been talking about that and making sure we have resources and the right resources around, because we didn't have we had a lot of vacancies, but the new people we were hiring didn't really have CDLs. So we couldn't put them in CDL vehicles. So we had to move around a lot of equipment, a lot of non-CDL equipment into the districts that had the majority of the non-CDL employees, so they could at least be on some type of equipment to help keep our roads clean.
Done a good job. You did great this winter. You did a great job, and nobody's complained at all. I think it's great for the amount of shortages you had in help. And so thank the crew for that. They did a great job.
Definitely will. Thank you very much. We'll let them know.
So the only other thing I wanted to show, and we're going to go through this again at 10 o'clock with Kevin Gatapy, the Capital Region DTA, but it's just to show, this is a map that shows our regions. So we went from 4 to 5 regions, as I'm sure you're aware, this last year with reestablishing District 6. But these are all our plow routes. As you can see, District 1 goes all the way over to almost the Dummerston garage on Route 9, and then there's some overlap on the other side. So, but this is found on our website. If anybody has any questions about, constituent concerns, questions, etc. The only other thing I wanted to point out is our automated vehicle location system. So our AVL is our Find a Plow, our Plow Finder app. That's on our website that people utilize to see where the plows are, etc. Our AVL system was mostly 3G technology through AT&T, and AT&T is no longer going to support that 3G technology. In the same time, our current AVL contract is expiring with no more extensions. So we have rebid again with BGS, Office of Purchasing and Contracting, our AVL contract. It's going to provide us with additional resources, including something that our fleet maintenance personnel will like, which is onboard diagnostics. So there'll be a plug that goes into that same little port that, when your car is inspected, the mechanic goes and plugs into, but it'll tell our mechanics what's happening with that vehicle from satellite location. So from the office, they can see what's happening out on the road and if there's any faults, etc., that are occurring, along with giving us location of the vehicle, application rates, so we can verify and validate what they have, some other surface temperatures that we can see as managers and provide that to our supervisors. So we're continuing to grow that. And the hopes is to take that wonderful endeavor that we did, the Name the Plow, and put that out on our public facing website.
That was good. I got a lot of press,
Yeah, agreed. And nationwide press. I've had a lot of insight and input from others, and I saw that other states have actually done the same thing, following suit with what we did and what Scotland did. But we'd like to be able to put that out on the public facing site where it's not number 167257. It is Jennifer Snopez or Plowy McPlowface, whatever the case may be. So people can actually see, because I hear it from my own daughter, who's an elementary school, who named their plow, and we'll drive by and she's looking to see if that was the Snow Wolf. We've heard that from several of our constituents, that was such a wonderful endeavor. So we want to be able to put that on our AVL system and put that out so people can actually see it on the website. They don't have to look for it out on the road. They, the kids can pull up their iPads or whatever, their computers, and see where their snowplow is. We figure that'll take it to that next level. We didn't have that ability this year because we were lacking some that had already expired on us. But next year we should have that up and running. So it'll be a great endeavor for us.
Senator Chittenden would like his name on one in South Burlington.
That'd be great. That'd be great. But it'll be great till we see where the plow trucks are, so that if you really don't like driving in the bad roads, you can just come out right.
You can see now.
Okay, I didn't know that.
All the trucks have GPS on them, so there's
But the names aren't there.
just the names aren't there.
Did you say the drivers don't like that?
No, the drivers have actually loved it.
Oh,
They've loved the Name the Plow.
no, with the GPS, you talked about the technology. I thought you'd made some comment about drivers. And
No, the drivers haven't minded it at all.
Oh,
It helps us to verify. The best part is, it's a testament to our employees. We have very, very good employees. We train them up. They're doing for the most part, what they're told. They make adjustments on the fly based on what they see for conditions. This is just another tool that they can also utilize for that. So
One thing I'd like to add to that too is also our other partners around the state. So state police and others can also utilize it. So in the past, let's say there's an emergency on the interstate and it's at mile marker such and such. Well, they may call that particular district, but that particular district's truck might be 30 miles away when the next district, which the line is only a few miles away, that truck might be 2 or 3 miles from it. So we can actually, the state police and also our transportation management center can utilize that locations to send the closest vehicle to help during those emergencies.
It's a far cry from Ray Burke when he used to be on the
Yeah.
radio giving us an update.
It is, but Ray
You didn't have any choice.
did an amazing job.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Thank you very much for the update. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You have one question.
Yeah, go right ahead, Senator Burke.
There was, I don't know if it's for Wayne or Todd, but there, one of the handouts after that map you showed of the districts, there was a agency chart. I don't know what you call those things, employee flow chart kind of thing. Is that all the actual drivers, plow drivers?
It was an organizational chart.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, districts. Yeah,
District 6 one.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's on the District 6. We can talk about that at 10 o'clock if you'd like.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it depends on which one we're looking at. Some of them are all of the employees in the district. And then I know there was some that was the headquarters or the tech services. So, but yeah, that is all the District 6 employees from their general maintenance manager, supervisors down through the operations technicians.
Okay, we're going to switch to the different group maintenance districts and get a report. I have here, first one is Robert Bailey, I believe.
Yes, hi, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay?
Go right ahead, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Senate Transportation Committee.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for hosting us this morning. So yeah, my name is Rob Bailey. I'm the District Transportation Administrator for maintenance for the Southwest region, which covers the Bennington and Rutland areas. I know you'd rather hear from the garage folks, so I will be very brief in my testimony. Regardless of some challenges this past year, we've had an incredibly productive year, both in terms of highway maintenance and COVID support. We are always busy with seasonal maintenance activities, but this year we put a renewed focus on tree and brush cutting to remove hazards and open up the roadway canopy. We've also been busy with COVID, distributing test kits to schools, and we staffed mass handouts to the general public. Our biggest challenge this year by far has been vacancies in the garages. The Great Resignation, high salaries from our competitors have left many open positions around the state, none more so than in District 5 in the Burlington area. Many positions required us to advertise several times just to get a single viable candidate. The number of applicants we see are also way down from previous years. Through this winter, and even today, we still carry many open plow driver positions around the state. Fortunately, other employees who normally don't plow snow for maintenance have been recruited to help out. Our district technicians, other maintenance employees, and CDL holders from Construction Division and DMV have stepped up to help us plow snow. We've also recently upgraded many of our maintenance workers' salaries to remain competitive with other employers. For example, an apprentice position last year would have been a pay grade 14 with a starting salary of $15.13 per hour. Now that entry-level position starts at a pay grade 18 with a starting salary of $18.48 an hour. That's an increase of $3.35. Employees can also expect another 3% raise in July. So hopefully we'll see much of this, this vacancy rate turn around with the state in the near future. Anyway, that's enough for me. Unless you have questions, I'll hand it off to Brian Roberts, who's the District 1 General Manager, for his viewpoint. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, okay. Brian, you're with us? Good morning. Thank you for showing up.
Good morning. Thanks for having us, and good morning to all. I just wanted to kind of echo what Rob said. We've had some struggles here in District 1. I'm the general manager for that district. Over the years that I've been employed in that district, we've actually seen a decrease in a number of applicants we've seen. So we started recruiting when I first came on board, and we were seeing 14 applicants to in the Bennington area, 11 typically in the Dorset area, and Wilmington, which is an area we always struggle. We're at least seeing 4 to 5 applicants. Recently, we've had some openings over the last 2 years. We've seen that decline to next to 0 applicants in district or in the Wilmington area. And we've struggled for nearly 2 years to fill vacancies in that area. Bennington, we're only finding that we're grabbing 2 to 3 applicants per opening, and Dorset's 1 to 2. So we've definitely seen that decline in the applicant pool. We get a lot of applicants from Indeed and those websites that people apply to, but when you interview them, the pre-interview before we select them, they're really not sure when it's listed as maintenance what they're up against. So when you explain this to them, they often opt out. I will say on the positive side, the pay increase for our TOT series has definitely attracted a few more candidates. We recently had 3 for the Wilmington area. 2 declined, but 1 finally accepted. So we're fully staffed here in District 1 now. We typically we try to shy away from non-CDL drivers in the wintertime, but we had to move forward with accepting 2 non-CDL drivers in that area. And they're progressing along. The other thing too, I want to mention on a positive side, we've had very good success with our internship program in District 1. We've worked closely with the SUs in the area, onboarding teenagers from the 2 Voc centers and the CDC down here in Bennington. And we've actually brought 2 of those interns up through the ranks from intern to a temp, to onboarding them as a full-time employee. And 2 of those 2 individuals have successfully moved into the ranks. So that's a positive note down here. We're working closely with Bennington and Burburton. So that's it. And these folks are definitely interested in our field, forestry and mechanic side, so that helps out. So with that, I don't have any more for you. If you got any questions for me, I'll gladly answer. Okay. Well, with that, I'll turn it over to Victoria Biller, who's the area supervisor for the Londonderry District 2.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So as Brian said, my name is Victoria Biller. I'm the supervisor for the Londonderry and Jamaica maintenance garages in District 2. So my job consists of mostly just balancing the job scheduling, managing the crew, all their diverse personalities, sometimes coordinating among other jobs, other garages, other districts to complete different tasks. We share equipment and also trying to work alongside my crew as much as possible. We do, as you know, I'm sure, all of the highway maintenance work. So we do the tree work, the guardrail repair, the emergency response. We respond to damages caused by natural disasters, the stenciling, the bridge washing, culvert maintenance and replacement, and of course our winter maintenance. And we all work together as a big team, support each other throughout the year, try to get all these tasks done. And that has been huge, especially the last couple years with COVID. That's definitely affected, I believe, the applicant pool for some of our open positions. I think that that's affected people wanting to come back into the workplace in person. And I think that with this new generation of maintenance workers that are nearing retirement, we don't have the volume of applicants to backfill those positions, just like Rob and Brian were speaking of. So I know that I've been here about 6.5 years. And in that time, I've done a lot of involvement with the outreach program and doing job fairs and working with the schools in grammar schools and also high schools and talking about what we do, explaining the job, trying to get that interest right out the door for new applicants and getting career employees. So something that I saw that was mostly beneficial was while doing things like that, a lot of the newer generation is big on the social media platforms. So a lot of times we'll either have a QR code or we'll have a link to an Instagram or the YouTube or Facebook page. So it's a little bit more interactive and they can get that firsthand look at what we do so that they can gain that interest. So what I've seen is that can also spark more interest for more possible applicants. Also possibly, which I've seen some of, but if there was more advertising, possibly just magnet style decals on dump trucks, on pickups, things where the public knows that we're looking for employees, but also as we're doing the work that they would be applying for. Try to build a stronger relationship with the community and just show them exactly what we do. That I've seen has worked well. In our garage in Londonderry, there was some openings that were from about March all the way until November. We finally got applicants to fill those positions. And as was mentioned before, the pay increase has definitely helped with that. There's been more applicants since the pay's gone up and it's become closer to comparable of the private sector. Also with the benefits, the medical benefits, having the pension. And I believe that the pension is a huge benefit and a part of long-term retention as well. That's been my experience over here in Londonderry. And since we've had that pay increase, we've had the more applicants. We've also had higher interest from word of mouth, and people, once they find out, they're more interested in the work we do as we're in the public eye.
I think the pay increase was a very important issue because at $15 an hour in today's world, it's pretty difficult. That's a very serious job and a lot of responsibility. And, I'm glad to see they made the jump on that. Because for $15 an hour, it's pretty hard to hire anybody in any position, even the high school age group this time of year. Yes,
I would add to that and say I really picked up on the pension piece. When I talk to potential high school students and they're looking at different career paths, the state pension is so attractive to get really strong people committed to their working years, knowing that they are going to have one of the best pensions when they complete their working years. So I'm glad that that's still an attractor for so many people.
Well, thank you for your good job you're doing. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, next is Shane. Is that or Katie? Shane, go right ahead.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, my name is Shane Pavancher. I'm the senior transportation technician out of the Morrisville garage, which is District 6. You know, my everyday role is I work with the crew and coordinate with the crew, you know, just to make sure that the jobs are run safe and effectively as possible, you know, cost effective personnel hours, all that stuff. I also fill in for the foreman when they're out. You know, as far as recruiting and retention goes, Morrisville, we had 2 vacancies for about 1.5 years. And then after the pay increases, those vacancies were filled. We just filled our last vacancy. You know, our crew is comprised, you know, mainly of older people. for the most part, we're in our 40s, with the youngest guy being 25. Before the pay increases, I know the big concern was pay and retirement. And again, now that the increase has happened, the question was, still remained, the retirement benefits. So, of course, retirement is huge. One of the things that we have now begun again is doing the outreach with the different tech centers. In fact, we just had a student yesterday from Hazen came through and do a tour of the facility and seemed really interested. Asked a lot of questions. And I believe it's something that he's going to continue to do. And of course that was compliments of Ann Morris doing all that coordination. So I have done some interviews for the couple other garages within District 6, and the general consensus is some of them don't understand what they're really interviewing for, or they don't want to get tied up for that long a period of time, say from December 1st to the April 1st, due to the snow season. But I honestly think that, once word, kind of gets out more as far as, the pay increases and all that, now that we've become more competitive with the private sector, I think it'll kind of, those applicants will come in line.
Questions, comments? Well, thank you for your work also. It's a tough job, and it comes at weekends and nights and holidays, and when everybody else is resting, they're called out on duty, whether it's Christmas or New Year's or whatever it is. I've always admired, we wake up in the morning, we expect the road to be clear, and they are, and it's a commitment that people have to make. It's not a 9-to-5 job.
So it's Katie?
Absolutely, thank you. I believe I'm followed up by Katie Lancor.
Oh, there's Katie.
Okay, Katie, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Great, you?
Excellent.
A day off recently, or any days off, or?
No, sir. No.
I didn't think so.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. As I said, my name is Katie Lancor, and I am Transportation Operations Technician 3 for the White River Junction District 4 Maintenance and Fleet Division. During the winter months, I plow and maintain my own assigned route, but throughout the summer, spring, and fall, there are many activities that all transportation operation technicians do. We prepare for the winter months by ditching, litter picking, repairing potholes, changing guardrails. And I also maintain the district's stenciling, pavement marking stenciling program, where I go around all of District 4 and do the crosswalks, the school lettering, everything on the pavement. So with talking with some of the guys that I work with, their main concern, they are pleased with the pay increase, but their main concern is that some of the new hires are going to surpass some of the veteran employees. With the new pay increase, the newer hires are like within $1 or so of people who have been there 13, 14, 15 years. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. The veterans have a pay scale where they get a pay increase once every 2 years, and the new hires get a pay increase once a year. And with this new pay scale, the newer people can surpass the older people in the pay. So a lot of the guys are upset about this. I have heard, people talk about leaving the job, and you guys talk about retention and stuff like that. That is the biggest problem with retaining people in the agency. And also the physical and the mental aspects of the job. A lot of people can't commit to the hours that we put in. So they look for jobs with a more fixed schedule.
Is that issue being addressed about the wages for the
It's
existing?
probably a function of the steps within the classified system.
Okay, that's the way it works.
Yeah. Like they said, they just did the pay increase across the board or whatever, but there are some that are been here for 13 years who got less than somebody who's been here for 5 years versus, someone 17 years. And with the step increases and stuff, the people that got the higher increases are going to surpass the ones that have the knowledge and the experience. So that has actually upset quite a few people.
What happened?
So I'm sorry if you've already spoken to this, but do you have anything that recognizes seniority so as to preferable shifts, job assignments? Is there other ways besides to address compression through mentorship where they get to mentor the youngers to recognize and acknowledge their seniority and experience? Are you doing things like that to also reward the longer serving employees?
Not that I know of. That might be a question for someone else.
I'm happy to answer that. And Katie, I think, is a perfect example. She took on additional responsibilities by taking on the stenciling program. She was recently upgraded from a level 2 to a level 3. So there are definitely avenues for people to be promoted within if they take on more responsibilities. I don't think anybody can surpass anybody else with the step structure and the pay grade structure we have. But I think the concern is that we're closing the gap. There may be somebody who was here for 15 years may have made, say, for example, $5 an hour more than somebody who just started. Now that gap is narrowed to maybe $2 or $3 an hour. And as they go through the step increases, there's not that big of a difference to kind of reward seniority just based on seniority. It kind of encourages people to step up and really take on more responsibility, whether it's a critical safety function or some kind of a skilled task that they can specialize in. That'll get them up the pay chart a lot faster.
Right.
Katie, I have a question. How long have you been working for the agency?
5 years, ma'am.
Okay, so was Tammy, we had a district administrator, Tammy, she's still with the agency? I think she was in the White River area. Remember Tammy?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Tammy moved to Central Garage for a few years and then she retired.
Oh, she's retired. Well, that shows you how long we've been around. Oh, we've maxed out our students. Oh, so Tammy's retired. Okay.
Well, there's dedicated people that do this work, I'll tell you, too. Like I said, I admire when you hear them out at all times, hours and nights, weekends, and it has to be a lot of dedication there because it's not 100% for the money. You have to enjoy what you're doing. And that's a lot of responsibility to get behind that plow truck. And, you're dealing with a public who sometimes isn't very patient with you and, right behind you.
Are you finding that some of the ads, the drivers, don't crowd the plow, some of those efforts, do you find, has there been a reduction of incidents with, on the road with plows? Or are you still seeing sort of that disrespect for the work and the drive and the plow trucks?
I guess I'll answer that. I just I see it's the kind of the trend with distracted driving, that regardless of what you do, what kind of safety features you implement, there are always those people with their heads down on their phones and they're just not paying attention to the road. So I'd like to think that the number of incidents has reduced. However, we're seeing more incidents with distracted driving, so it's kind of counteracting any of the safety measures. And and that's, again, anecdotally my opinion.
Get off them phones. Get off those phones for 5 minutes. When you hire someone, Now you have to put them through the whole training for the CDL, right? Is that correct? You have to, what's it take from a person walking off the street wanting to be, work for you? What's it take, 3 months or?
Ryan, would you like to answer that?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'll grab that. So when you come in off the street, if you have zero experience, we actually do a lot of online training and one-on-one training to help individuals get their permit. So it's however they learn best will be as soon as they can get their permit under their belt. So typically that's anywhere from the first month to the second month to get their permit. And then we put them behind the wheel, and we have instructors throughout the state that actually are working in conjunction with our LMS system through VTTC to help bring these drivers up to speed with the federal requirements and their driving skills as well through our own folks. So someone that's pretty apt with driving and already has some skills with backing, we could typically see them with a CDL Class B under their belt by about 3 to 4 months. Some of them take a little longer than that, but we like to see them out there driving on their own within the 5th and 6th month. If at all.
6 months, they don't lead you to some other job.
That's true. So, but hopefully they'll look at the long-term benefits in this pay increase that they just received. And, I've been with the agency since the 90s. And, what I came on board for is significantly less than what, the onboarding pay is now. I still actually drive plow trucks. I was in one last night plowing through that storm that came through the southern end of the state. And, I can say the biggest thing that I see with the drivers out there, to back up on some of the question you just asked, was if people tend to drive beyond their ability. So just because it says all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, that's what we're seeing. So I met plenty of cars last night in the area that I was plowing that were all-wheel drive, that were driving well beyond their capability. But it's our drivers that, you see them out there paying attention, that keeps us in the check when it comes to meeting them.
Yeah,
I commend them.
Well, great overview. Any questions for the committee this morning?
Oh, yeah, where's the storm this weekend? South, north, all over the state? Anybody get a rest?
Yeah, we're getting a rest the next couple of days, but we're getting trucks and equipment ready. But it's going to mostly impact the middle to the northern part of the state first, with rain and sleet in the southern counties, and venturing into the midday on Saturday before it's impacting all of us snow-wise. But we're looking at 8 to 12 across the board.
Yes, Senator.
I'm not joking with this. I love doing ride-alongs. I've done 2 with local police officers. If you would have a state senator join one of the Chittenden County plow trucks to go out this weekend, I'll just tell them where I need to be and when.
Yeah.
They'll take you.
We're glad to have you.
Do that. No, that's great. Well, again, I want to thank you sincerely for all the work you guys do.
Could be your next career. You got a CDL.
It's a great job. We wake up and the work is done, and thank you very, very much. It's sometimes you think you're going unnoticed, but I think basically people really thank you and respect you for all the work you do, because the roads are always right up to par, and boy, we know it doesn't do it in 8 hours a day, that's for sure. Well, thank you again for coming this year, and we'll look forward to having you again. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, our next item, it's 10 o'clock, and let's see, what do we got? District reestablishment, capital region. Who's with us this morning on the next item? We have Kevin.
Good morning. Good morning, Senators. I am here. I'm having a little technical difficulties with my camera, so I'm hoping you can hear me at least with my audio.
We can hear you. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Well, I apologize for the video. I'm a little bit IT challenged.
We're used to a lot of problems that we have that daily.
Well, I certainly appreciate your patience, and I'm glad that you can hear me okay.
We can hear you. Thank you.
And we can
Perfect.
see Todd
Yeah, we can see
perfectly
Todd. Todd, he makes sure he's there. You know what I mean? That's good.
with his
Yeah,
shirt
Todd-
dry. Oh.
Todd is certainly an expert. Well, Senators, thanks for the opportunity for sure to catch up with you and maybe give you some insight and some information of the reestablishment of District 6. So I will try to share a PowerPoint. It's just 5 slides to see if it will keep me on track and generate some questions.
Central Vermont, okay, the Montpelier region, Barry, Montpelier, this region?
All, yeah, all of Washington County, part of Orange County.
Okay, just so I.
Yeah, let me share my screen if I can. Thank you.
Maybe Jean.
Are you able to see that?
No,
Not yet.
maybe Jeannie can.
We might have.
Or do we have them? I can go get my iPad.
Evan, I can share my screen also.
Oh,
I would appreciate the help, Todd.
Todd hates to leave though. He wants to stay there. There, we're getting there now. There we go.
Thank you, Todd. And again, my apologies for my IT challenge.
All right.
So this is the map currently of our division of maintenance and fleet. As you can see, the capital region is in the Montpelier area, and that's the region that I am the DTA for. The capital region contains 4 main maintenance garages and 2 satellite garages. The district office for the capital region is at the Dill Building, which is 2178 Airport Road in Berlin. And that is integrated with the Division of Maintenance and Fleet headquarters as well. Okay, Todd. Slide number 2. These are the towns that we serve in the capital region since the realignment. These towns formerly, before the reestablishment, were in 4 other districts, 7, 8, 5, and 4. So I think some of the reason for the reestablishment of District 6 is to provide better customer service. Municipalities are very important to the districts, to the state. We work very closely with municipalities offering support, some engineering services, especially during any damaged events for weather events. Just for an example, in the past, if an event happened in Waterbury, they would have to travel to the district office in Colchester. Barry would have to go to St. Johnsbury, and Northfield would have to go to White River Junction. So to increase customer service, having District 6 headquarters in Berlin really adds a local presence for them moving forward. Understanding that change is hard for a lot, including myself. Towns, small towns, especially those that don't have an extensive administration or engineering branch within their local government, is anxious when an event happens. I will share with you that our objective, our goal for this summer is to do some face-to-face interactions with our towns, make sure that we spend some time with the town clerks, the town road foremans, any municipal entity within our towns that are listed here. There's 28. I think this relationship building might take a little time. I did hear some constructive feedback about the change, and I think it's some of the smaller towns that do have some anxiety. They were very comfortable where they were, but it is my goal to work very closely with them to show that we are here for some support. And I just think it's essential that team building, that really good communication really starts this summer with face-to-face visits.
I have to ask a question. We are reestablishing this district. So at one point it did exist, and then it was eliminated and folded into other districts. Obviously, that organization or configuration of the district didn't pose problems. Towns, I guess, must have felt they didn't get the support that they needed. So could you just give us a little history? In other words, we're asking to go back to what used to be. There was a proposal that changed it. I would inherent in that is it didn't work as well as was hoped. So can you just provide us a little context of what preceded getting the reestablishment of the district? Now, I don't know if that's for you, Kevin, or Todd, but sometimes we try things and we think it's going to yield wonderful results. We've got the PSAPs, for example, call centers. And
Really started on that.
yeah, so could you just give us some background?
Sure, I can start and I'm sure.
Why you're doing it, why you're feeling that this is needed, this change.
So Senator Kitchell, I will share some of this will be my opinion. I think Todd was in more of a decision-making role when this happened. So senators, in my past career, I was a local road foreman in my hometown for a long time. We had great customer service, and I don't think that any of the towns listed in the District 6 list like they weren't supported, because I think everybody did. I think our goal would be, we recognize that the regions had a lot of towns. And so for a major event, I think we would be challenged to make sure that we are supporting quickly, effectively. You know, it was a lot for an event to happen for all these 28 towns to be in other districts, adding on to their current list. So I think the thought process would be really customer service related. I think location matters when a town needs to submit grants, when to be supported with issue. They didn't have to travel so far. Berlin is pretty centrally located to the 28 towns there. I think our goal is, or in my mind, and again, folks, this is just opinion rather than facts that maybe Todd could share, having that local presence, being more convenient is an issue. And I think it's important that municipalities that we support, yes, it will take some time for relationship building, Senator Kitchell, but I think it will happen pretty soon, if that's my goal.
The reaction from the towns like Marshfield and Cabot are sort of the reverse. When I've talked to them, and it could just be the different people that are their liaisons, but they don't like this. They liked, I think it was District 7 that they were in, because they thought they were getting better service, not maybe for the storm events or things like that, but just on the day-to-day communications of issues that they have with AOT and planning. And I think I was glad to hear what you said about doing face-to-face, because that was one of the things I heard from some of the small towns on the outskirts of these 28 towns. You know, they don't really think Berlin is being close. So what they felt was that in some districts would get attention, and then when they changed, they never heard from AOT. And I get the impression in talking to them, it was just some people, it could just be where they lived or what they had going on in their districts, but were more responsive to select boards and things like that. So I'm glad to hear you're going to go out and do the face-to-face, because I think that's what they were missing. And those little select boards I think operate much more on a face-to-face basis. They want to know who the person is and feel like they're friendly with them, not just get a call or an email.
I think the face-to-face could alleviate a lot of situations that we end up writing legislation for. We had a tree problem in Middlebury, and had there been discussions before, I think we probably wouldn't have had that legislation.
People just want to be heard.
Yeah, they want to have an input.
They like to have, just like we do, by call, just like I told you, this is what you should do.
you want to know, you call Karen or call Bob. You don't want to just say, we'll call the district administrator or something like that. They don't know. But it
And I
sounds
think
like you agree with that, and that's part of the plan. So I was just reiterating that that's a, so was glad to hear that.
Yeah, and I agree, and I just want to reiterate what Kevin said. You know, Kevin and I both have a municipal background. So, you know, supporting the municipalities is definitely something that we take very dearly, because we were on the receiving end of that. So, but that is one thing that we have emphasized in AOT is our customer service. And we feel that shrinking, you know, in District 7 had, what was it, 8 or 10 additional towns with the same amount of technicians. So we've added technicians into District 6. We've added a project manager back into District 6. So we do feel overall that this will be beneficial to those towns. We were doing that transition about the same time, and I think District 7 project managers and technicians had already met with the towns when we were doing this transition last year.
Yeah.
So this year will be the first year that they'll get to meet the new project manager in District 6, Michelle Redmond, who has a significant amount of this same support. She came from District 4. So she's got a lot of experience working with towns, doing projects, you know, and we feel that again, they don't want to meet with the DTA who's running the whole show, but they want to understand that they are important to those project managers. And that's one thing that we want to make sure that all of our customers understand, whether you're a legislator, whether you're a town select board or municipal government board, or the residents. We want to make sure those residents have somebody local. And again, as Kevin said, you know, if somebody was in Montpelier to get up to Colchester to get a permit is going to take them 45 minutes to an hour, where it'll take them 5 to 10 minutes to get to Berlin. And, you know, some of them, there will be a wash on travel time. Like you said, Marshfield and Cabot, you know, it's about the same to go to St. Johnsbury it is to Berlin. But, you know, this was how it was organized in the past. And it actually does kind of even up that town per district arrangement, which will give a lot more if we have significant emergency events or disaster events that, you know, we only have so many people, but we've added a couple that will go out and assess some of the damages and be able to provide that customer service fairly quickly. So yeah, we're definitely growing. We're going to continue to grow and continue to improve. So we do hope, and if not, you know, we're obviously open to change. So, you know, if things don't work out, we can definitely have some discussions about that. These do coincide with the plow routes also. So our technicians actually provide oversight and technical assistance to our garage workers. So to the area maintenance supervisors and our operations technicians. So, you know, that's why the towns were divvied up as they were. But again, you know, if we need to improve, we'll definitely do that. You know, we're open to hearing that feedback.
Yes,
And
sir.
I can emphasize what Todd shared, and I appreciate the constructive feedback and from what you hear from your constituents in your area. It's important to us. I was the former DTA in the Northeast, and I knew how strong both the District 9 and District 7 teams are, and how important the towns was for them to support the towns in the area. So coming from that background, an expectation for the Capital Region District 6 is to develop that strong relationships very similar to what we had in the Northeast region. So I am hearing what you're saying, and I appreciate the feedback. And please, if you hear others, you know, you can send them directly to me for conversation, or you can reach out and we will. It's very important to me personally, as Todd shared, that Todd and I both are from the municipal world, so we know how important state support is in the people that we work with.
Senator Chittenden, go right ahead.
Todd, you raised something that I think is worth doubling back to an earlier point. I didn't know that you could track where plow trucks are. I'm seeing the website now. This is great, but you just spoke to municipal collaboration. Have you looked at possibly integrating all of the different municipalities in their plow trucks? I know when I work with constituents, they often don't know the distinct lines between municipal, state, or even federal resources or programs. Is there any consideration or previous conversations about looking at putting these trackers on city-owned or municipally owned plow trucks as well?
I do know that there are some out there now. They are not within our system. And I'd have to verify this, but if we have a contract through BGS, then towns are able to piggyback on a majority of those. And I'm assuming this would be one also. And you know, as I said, I worked for a municipal entity. When I was in the city of Montpelier, I was the public works director. We had a different system to do the same tracking. It didn't provide the same level that we're seeing with the new AVL system that we have. But again, we work with them all the time. Kevin, their crew works with them. We've never had any reach out to us desiring to be in that same situation. But you're right. You know, we hear a lot of customer feedback, and nobody knows, or you know, sometimes they really don't care who maintains it. They just want whatever it is fixed. So you know, we do a lot of collaboration with the towns. We know who we're working with. We have a lot of sheets that say, you know, who the public works director is, who the managers are, who the road foremen are. We collaborate with them all the time. But we haven't had a lot of outreach or other municipal entities looking for the AVL system.
Yeah, okay.
So if we're looking for conversations to have, I'd love to have the VLCT and to ask their thoughts on this. Maybe we just need to open the conversation door with the municipalities. I would love to be able to see which plow truck in South Burlington keeps knocking down my mailbox, but also to just to support and know when the roads are better. And I love your idea too, that if we already have a contract with BGS that can be extended to municipalities, that should drastically reduce the cost burden to standing up a system and just having the same plow or all the plows on this one console. So if we're looking for something to talk about it, I'd love to hear what VLCT has to say.
Okay. Yes, Senator Ingalls.
And the cameras that you guys have set up, we're seeing more of them. Are they pretty helpful as far as to let you folks get ahead of any bad situations?
So yes, the cameras that you see actually are attached to our road weather information system stations. So all our RWIS stations that are around the state, we have increased the number of those over the past few years. We've upgraded some of them. Besides the camera, they will actually show us other information that we can't show to the public, but it gives us the temperatures, anything that's starting to build on the roadways. The foreman can get alerts when the road conditions are starting to deteriorate. So yeah, we use those very, very heavily. And we've promoted this to our supervisors so they can utilize them. So we don't just put them out there for the cameras. They're great for the traveling public. Some of the other things are on our 511 site. And they, in our TMC, our Transportation Management Center, utilizes that to show the road surface temperatures, the air temperatures, and then some of the road conditions. So yeah, we are providing that. It does give our supervisors a lot more granularity into what's happening on that roadway. And again, they can even send themselves text alerts or what have you if a road segment's starting to get poor. So yeah, we use those things very, very, very heavily.
Glad to see that one on top of Sheffield Heights. It's there, and you know, you notice them everywhere. But you know, that's a different world up there. And I'm sure you guys get called all the time. Oh, the road conditions are terrible here, and you can then access that camera and find out whether it's true or not.
Yeah, and hopefully we can be preemptive on that using that information that's in there. But yeah, no, we have a lot of those, and we've actually grown a few of them out in Bloomfield and up on J Peak, which of course, you know, we get weather there when we don't get it anywhere else.
Yep.
Are they on the side of the road, or are they overhead, or are they
On a pole.
on a pole? That's what most.
Yeah, on a pole, and usually they're solar powered, or they have a solar,
Okay.
solar
I
powered.
know that we have plenty of them, but I didn't know where they were located, whether on the ground or on the. Well,
Yeah, so we have some that are solar powered. A lot of them are connected into the power grid. And those are preferred because they do draw. And of course, in Vermont, yeah, we do have some solar energy, but even with the battery banks that we have, a lot of times they'll start shutting down certain components of it. The other thing that they need, they're all cellular based. So they send all their information via cell modems. And as we continue to increase our cell service across the state, we've increased a lot of those. We started on some of the more major routes, and now we're looking at those areas that are more critical, the higher elevations. We have them on Route 9 up by Searsburg, and those things are extremely helpful. We put one up on Groton Heights because of same situation. It's higher elevation. They'll get snow there when we get nothing on each side, on the valleys on each side. So, these things have been extremely helpful to us. We don't have to get the call from a constituent or from state police who's out there or local police. We can actually get those alerts that the roads started to deteriorate. So yeah, those things have been extremely helpful for us.
Thank you.
Please put your camera, Senator.
Okay, anything else you got for us this morning?
A couple more slides if you would like to see our structure specifically for District 6. District 6, this is the structure that maybe you're familiar with seeing. It shows me as the manager. That shows the garages and their supervisors. On the other side of the Capital Region, there's a technical services branch. The technical services branch includes pollution prevention and compliance. That is DG's team. He has stormwater technicians, four stormwater technicians and clean water technicians. And I think looking at your schedule, you're going to see Jen Callahan later today, and she's one of them. Also in the technical services side, there is a 3-person hazardous material and waste team. They are the ones that respond for hazardous oil spills on our roadways. This is a statewide service. One important additional task that they provide to the districts, and this is to all districts, is any specific training. Training is important because of all the hazardous materials that we store within the garages. So they provide that to district staff. We have a GIS support person. It's just a 1-person team. Sarah leads that. She does software improvement for any data support, program and reporting inventories, for instance, small solvent inventories, winter maintenance activities on a daily basis, mowing, guardrails, things like that. Sarah is the sole person in that department. And she is also responsible for training district forces in using these devices. The last support is statewide bridge maintenance. That is Spen's group. He is also
Breaking up. Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Like I said, this bridge section controls our temporary bridges. We have about 3,000 linear feet of temporary bridges. Right now in use, we have 11 locations, about 1,110 linear feet. So this is the technical side of the Capital Region. I think it was important to point that out. The last slide I wanted to share is our road system, our highway corridor need in District 6. Obviously, our Orange Road is I-89. This is something that I specifically have to learn coming from the Northeast. Traffic volumes on I-89 through the Waterbury area, you're talking about 12,500 cars a day. I am more used to I-91 up over Sheffield Heights. That's about 4,000 cars a day. So I am pretty new in the DTA in the Capital Region. I have a lot to learn, and this is just an example of that.
But Kevin, there's actually more traffic on Route 2 than there is on the interstate north of Lyndonville.
I agree, Senator Kitchell. I agree. I travel that road as you do every day to work, so I understand.
The lights all of that. What's so unique about it?
It's just up there. It's the highest point of Interstate I-91.
Yeah, okay.
And it's its own weather pattern for sure.
Okay, so storm always.
I was pretty used to, I live in Danville. I was pretty used to going to the office in Derby, and a lot of days I traveled pretty early. You might only see 4 or 5 cars. And for those that travel the 89 corridor from Montpelier to Chittenden County, there is a significant difference, and I am learning that as quick as I can. So that concludes my slideshows. I would certainly like to field any questions if you had some, or comments. I appreciate feedback, both positive and construction, and we will work hard to meet expectations.
Okay, Kevin, Route 2, I'm going to ask this because for Senator Perslick, because on the plan, there was actually a major upgrade, I think road bed improvement of Route 2 from Marshfield through to Plainfield. That road a couple of years ago was really bad. It got skim coated.
Yes.
Keep it going. So is that still on schedule? I think it was maybe start in 22. It was a fairly significant, I can't remember, 20, maybe, I don't know, remember how many $1 million project, but it was quite significant. And it was in Senator Perslick's Senate district. I just like to point that out, not mine.
So this is what I can share that I know to be true, Senator Kitchell. I know the culverts for that section of roads are due to be changed this upcoming spring. And I do not remember any change in the initial plan for the construction. I think it's called Plainfield Danville section. I think that's the official construction name. I could absolutely follow up with you to ensure that remains on schedule.
For next year, is that what you said?
I don't know, for 22, I thought, 22, 23.
Yeah, maybe 22, they do the culverts, and 23, they do the paving or something.
I do know the contractor has been hired. Shauna did that through District 7, even though some of them are in District 6. That was right during our transition, so that's why I'm aware of it. But I do know the culverts are going to happen this spring.
Yes, and just to update, V-Transparency showing that the Marshfield Danville resurfacing project is slated right now for May 2023 to October 2024, following that culvert project.
Yeah, okay.
What's amazing about the good news, bad news, the good news is we had all this extra money coming from the federal government. The bad news is by the time we had all the cost of diesel and all the other expenses, the paving was 153 million, which was so exciting, but it probably won't do much more paving than we did in the past when we figure all the increases that's going to happen. And between the diesel and paving and the labor and everything else, so it's unbelievable how exciting it was to hear all that revenue. And thank God we got it. But I'm just saying, our anticipated work is going to diminish considerably with the cost increases across the board, whether it's flaggers or whether it's materials and labor shortage. But it's affecting every business, so it's not unique, but it's just something to think about.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again for all your good work. We appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed for many of us throughout the state. And, appreciate everything that you do. Any other questions from the committee? Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you
Thank you
again.
for your support.
Okay, Jeannie, I think you can take us off live, please.